Is time our friend or is it our biggest enemy? We're going to talk about it. Drop a comment down below. It's Bad Dog Podcast. You are now listening to Bad Dog Podcast. What's up, you guys? We're back with another episode here at Bad Dog Podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, you guys can go ahead and like and subscribe at the bottom and go ahead and drop a comment, man. I'm interested. I want to know, is time our biggest enemy or is it our friend? I don't know. Let's see what you guys think. Go ahead, drop the comments and we'll talk about it. So we're going to look at the definition of time. And this is the definition of time. It says the indefinite continued progress of existence and events in the past, present, and future regarded as a whole. So this is huge. This is huge. This is a big thing that a lot of people, they worry about is time. I don't have enough time. I can't. You know what I'm saying? We always hear people talk about time is money and all of these, cliches and things, but is it really? Like, think about it. Like, is it really? Like, is it really like, you know, every minute you spend, like, is it literally money? What is it about? So I used to believe that time was my biggest enemy. And the reason why I used to believe, especially when I started going to jail, I was like, man, I hate time. Time is like the worst, like, person, entity in the world. Why do we have time? Why everything just couldn't be just unlimitless, just, no time. And so what I realized was that I felt that way because it was interrupting it was interrupting the way that I wanted to use the time. And which most cases, the way that I wanted to use the time was ways in which I have already used the time. I just wanted to repeat it. You see what I'm saying? And this is what I feel like it's for a lot of people. A lot of people look at, time as a negative thing because the things that we're doing with our time is continuous, and we get, we're creatures of habit. So we get into the habit of doing certain things with our time. And if anything else comes in between that, a disruption, an inconvenience, those things make us look at time as an enemy. And we shouldn't, we really shouldn't look at it like that. When we already have expectations of what we want to do with our time, anything that prevents us from doing what we already expect to do with our time, it becomes, like I said, we look at time as our enemy. And so what I noticed is when I first went to prison and I started doing a lot of time, was that I was focused only on two aspects of time. We just read the definition. It's three aspects of time. There's the past, the present, and the future. And most people, they only live in the past and the present. You see what I'm saying? People are in the present right now. Like right now, if you're watching this, you are presently watching this in the present. And I recorded this in the past. You see what I'm saying? But unless I even took the initiative to record this, edit it, upload it, this would not have been something you guys could watch in the future. and for the future to come, because this stuff is gonna last, for forever. You see what I'm saying? Once we upload it onto the internet, it's on the internet. You see what I'm saying? So I realized that most most of us, we live in a kind of a, I want to say, how can I put it? We live kind of in a selective time frame, if that makes sense. And what I mean is, we're in the present, and if we can't do what we've done in the past, in the future, time becomes our biggest enemy, and we shouldn't look at it like that. You see what I'm saying? We're looking at it backwards. We're looking to do things in the future that we've already done, and that's part of what my book is about. If you guys haven't already went and got the book, go ahead. You can download the ebook on my link tree. I'll leave the link down below so you guys can go ahead and read that. It's an easy read. It's a good book. But I share those experiences with you guys, and a part of that is the basis of time. You see what I'm saying? How we look at time, and why time is always our biggest enemy. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, we're in the present. We want to do things in the future in which we already did in the past. So anything that interrupts us from doing what we've done in the past in the future, we don't have time for it. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, we don't want to experience future experiences, which are going to be new experiences. And a lot of people are afraid of new experiences because they can't control them. Well, we think we can't control them. And that's only because, and we're going to get into it, that's only because we're not investing our time properly. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times, like I said, people live in the past. In the future, people live in the past, in the present, so they don't want to move to the future. They rather just stay, in the past. Man, why can't we do things like we used to do it? Man, why can't, because we don't do things like that anymore. Like we have technology, like it's new ways of doing things, like that's what it's about. And so when I started going to prison and I started learning, about time, I realized that time was actually my friend. And I'll explain what I mean. So time became my friend when I focused on and accepted where I was at and what I wanted to strive for moving forward. You see what I'm saying? And it's kind of cool because being in prison is kind of symbolic, because people always they say, when they go to jail or when they went to prison, they feel like they died. And when you get released, ultimately it's like, the rebirth. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you weren't the same person you were when you went into, prison as you're gonna get out. You see what I'm saying? Unless you didn't really change. You see what I'm saying? Unless you really didn't like do no self-improvement, you didn't really, even think about what you want to do when you got out. Your mind was still in the same spot it was when you went to prison. And so when you get out of prison, your mind is going to be in the same spot. But life has moved on. You see what I'm saying? There are guys who went to prison, for decades and decades and decades, and then when they finally got out, they didn't know how to use cell phones. Like we didn't have cell phones before I went to prison. Like what are these, like tablets? Like we didn't have none of this stuff. And of course, in certain institutions, you're limited that technology. Like they don't like host a class and show you, okay, when you guys get out, this is how you're going to use an iPhone. This is how you're going to look for jobs. This is how, like, no, they don't. Like, no, they can care less. They want you to figure that stuff out on your own. And so, as like I said, as I became more and more aware, I focused on where I was and where I wanted to go. And so in that aspect, time became, my friend because it gave me time to grow. You see what I'm saying? If I never got caught for my crimes or whatever the case may be, I would have got stuck doing the same things with the same mind frame as life would have continued to progress, and things would have just got harder and harder and harder because I'm still trying to apply old knowledge to this new way of life, and it never works. It never works. It doesn't. That's like someone trying to start a lemonade stand, as a legitimate business. It's not a bad, it's not a bad idea or nothing like that. I'm just saying, like, there are other ways to, bring products to the market, services to the market, than standing on one, corner and pitching your lemonade, you know what I'm saying, to the chosen few people that stay around your area. You see what I'm saying? So what the shift became, like I said, where I know where I am in the present. This is where I want to go into the future. You see what I'm saying? This is how I see myself, by the time I get out. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't like this is where I am. When I get out, I'm gonna do things like I used to do it. You know what I'm saying? Everything's gonna go back to how it was when no, it doesn't. It doesn't happen like that. And unfortunately, there's a lot of guys, in the prison system who think that way, who think that they're gonna get out and things are gonna be the same like it was in 1999 or in the early 2000s, whenever they caught their time, and they're gonna get out and be in for a rude awakening because things no like the world doesn't move the way it used to. The world moves a lot faster. People don't engage and interact the ways that they used to. We're a lot more we are a lot more, what's the word? We move faster. Things are a lot faster. Like, like within the first introduction of meeting someone, they're either going to write you off or they're going to say, "Hey, this person's cool. I can interact with them." It's not like it used to be. It's not like, you come around a few times and then people make a judgment about you. No. Sometimes people make a judgment about you before they even before they even meet you. They look at your clothes, they look at your car, they say, yeah, I don't think I want to socialize with that person. And then they'll move on. Because again, like I said, stuff moves a lot. It moves a lot faster. Jobs that used to be, high-end jobs, before those guys went in, those aren't even jobs anymore. Selling drugs is almost obsolete. Like, I'ma just be honest with you. Like, if you're not on the level of, you know, the doctors and prescribe, getting stuff cleared from the FDA so that you can bring it to the market. If you're not on that level, as far as like selling drugs and pharmaceuticals and things like that, you are wasting your time. Wasting your time. No way, shape, or form do I condone selling drugs. But again, like, I mean, think about it. Like, you don't see people on the street corner, like, trying to, sell you a 10 sack no more. Like, that stuff doesn't even exist no more. They have like legitimate businesses that you can go and you can buy this stuff now. Like, what do I need with you for? Like, and it's more convenient and it's safer. Like, come on. So time is neutral. Time is neutral. Okay. Time is going to be based on how you invest your time. Time is going to be based on where your focus is. Are you still living in the past mentally? Are you still living in the past mentally and you're investing your time into reliving the past? Or are you investing your time in the future? Meaning you're going to be doing a lot of stuff that's really, it's going to be repetitive, but it's going to be repetitive for a reason. You see what I'm saying? It's not like you're going to be, it's like I told you guys. Einstein said doing the same thing and doing the same thing and expecting different results, he said, was insanity. And I challenged that. I said that, doing the same things and expecting different results isn't insanity. Doing the same thing and not expecting any results, to me, that's insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, and then you just get comfortable with how things are going, that you don't even think about, how things can get better, how things can change. It's just like, no, this is what it is. I'm pretty comfortable with this. That's insanity. But if you're doing the same things and you say, okay, in the next year or so, instead of me needing to do this consistently, now I can upgrade and now I can do this. And then it'll be a whole new, list of rituals and habits that you'll do in order to get you to the next thing. That's how it works. That's how it works. We can't expect to do the same thing and not expect different results, because that, like I said, that's what's gonna keep us in the loop. We're doing the same thing over and then you know what's gonna happen? Life is gonna change. Just like it always did. Life is gonna change, and then we're still gonna be sitting there in the loop wondering why things aren't working. It's like we're trying to put the triangle in the square, and then we get mad. Yeah, that hole that used to be there, yeah, now it has 4 corners instead of the 3. So you have to adjust. You have to. The biggest cliche people always say is that, oh, when people get money, they change. Well, yeah, that's because society and how the world moves, it's gonna force you to change. It's gonna force you to change. I mean, think about it. We used to be able to have taxis. Really, think about this. Like, there used to be taxi cabs like all over. My grandmother used to work for a taxi service like years ago. And how it would work was you would call dispatch, and you would tell dispatch that you needed a cab. And then they would notify you of, how long it would take for the closest taxi driver to get to you. Do you know how foreign that is today, in which we have an app literally that we can order a ride, already plug in where we want to go, and it tells us how long it's going to take us for the driver to get to us, who the driver is, how much it's going to cost, and how long it's going to take us to get to our destination. Just think about that. Wrap your mind around that, because there's a lot of people who were in, they were in denial about the whole Uber and Lyft conversion. Like they were very naive about it. And then look what happens. There's practically no taxi cabs, like literally none. There's a few, that's still, like, I've been to New York, they still have taxi cabs out there. But again, those are like private, you know what I'm saying? Privately owned. These are people who, were either inside of a, company that was already doing this, or they decided to just, do it themselves. You see what I'm saying? And just charge, what they want to charge, and pick people up and do all that stuff. But again, like, Just think about that. Like, it changed drastically. So that is, what I wanted to talk to you guys about is, how are you investing your time? And do you still look at time as an enemy, or do you look at it as a friend? If you're looking at it as an enemy, you're probably looking at it from a past tense point of view. And so what you need to do is you need to see where you're at right now in the present, and see what you would like to accomplish, or what life would you like your new life to be moving forward, because it's going to change. It's going to change. Prices of gas going up, prices of living going up, and then pretty soon, guess what? People are going to have to move to, different environments that they're not used to. But again, they're going to have to get used to, because they weren't planning in the future. You see what I'm saying? So like I said, time is neutral. Time is an art. Time can be your friend, or it can be your enemy. It all depends on how you invested it. Where in the timeline we're focused on is pretty much how we're going to perceive time to be. You see what I'm saying? If we're in the present, looking in the past, time is our enemy. If we're in the present, looking to the future, time is our friend. Like think of where you want to be. Like, not even just physically, but mentally. Like, think of the stuff that you can learn and accomplish. You can learn a whole new language. You see what I'm saying? For the future. And then set up your life to where you can move, to, the country in which this language you learned how to speak. Now you can go and you can interact with different people and experience that. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, that was the main thing that I wanted to discuss with you guys today, is time. Time is neutral. Invest your time productively. Invest your time strategically. I know everybody has to work. We all have to work certain jobs, certain times. But again, 24 hours in the day. If you can invest even just an hour outside of your normal routine on something that's gonna move the needle further for you, then you're moving in the right direction. So that's for you guys. Go ahead and take that with you. Invest your time, correctly and strategically. And yeah, go out there and create new futures. Don't get stagnated in the past. This has been Troy, Bad Dog Podcast. You guys have been great. Go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to our channel, and I'll continue to be dropping content for you guys. But until next time, remember, stay perfect. See you guys next time.